Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What is this on me? How's everybody? Gotta look good. Okay. This looks very different today for some reason. I don't know. It looks very.
Really?
I don't know what it is. Hello, everybody. This is Lee
Paul
from CoupleDumb.com. You're on Relationship Rehab on Mingle Media TV.
Hello. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yes. Thank God.
Yay.
Another Friday closer to where we want to be.
Yeah. Where do we want to be?
Away.
Away. Got it.
Away.
Yeah.
Away from the things of child. That sounds nice. And which is all funny since we're setting up a parenting website, so we're all about kids right now.
And you know what actually gets in the way of setting up a parenting website? Children.
Yeah.
Slows you down a whole lot.
Big time, big time, big time. So, anything going on?
I don't know. A bunch of websites. I mean, that one you already said.
Yes. ParentDumb.com is scheduled to be debuted on the 26th of July.
Mm-hmm.
When I say scheduled to be debuted, that is the deadline I imposed on Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Get it done.
I gotta get my stuff together by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he'll say things like, "No, but I'm waiting on you too," and it's like I've told him a million things that I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, just get it done already.
Yep.
Handle it.
It's almost done.
Yeah, it's almost done.
Yep.
Looking good. Excited about that. So if you're watching this and you are a writer or a blogger or whatever, and you write about parenting, drop us online. We'd love to have you on our site, and because we're going to be bringing in a bunch of people to write things. It's not just our stuff. We want pictures.
We don't want it to be just our stuff.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Pictures. The only thing that we don't want is the helicopter type of parent. We don't want the perfect parent.
Yeah, matter of fact, we're looking at really just the opposite.
Yeah.
This is kind of a learning from other people's mistakes type of site.
It's parent dumb.
Yeah.
Next week on the show we're going to be talking about couple dumb, because we did whose show did we do? We did Marla's Life After Kids show on Sundays here on minglemedia.com. We did their show, her show last Sunday, and she asked us about why couple dumb. And it's weird because we hadn't been asked that in a long time.
No, that's true.
And, so we explained, it's the stupid things that you do to ruin relationships. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. We're also writing about that next week, since people kind of forgotten what we write about.
Yeah, that is the gist of things.
So that's good. What else? Let's see. Got the good news that Chevy is taking us to Blogger. We will be a Blogger this year in New York, starting on August 5th through whenever.
Yeah.
What is the next? It ends on the 7th. But we'll be there till the 8th, and then so we'll be in New York, and I'm very excited about that. And now we have to drive all the way up there.
And I'm so looking forward to that. Realize that when I get stressed, my escapist fantasy is get in the car and drive north. Realize we're in Miami, so we're at the tip of the penis. So north is really the only direction to go.
Unless we want to hovercraft it to Cuba or something, which we don't. I have a feeling that they would put me in jail for a long time.
That's right. But the idea is going north. So this is like my dream come true.
Not only that, I think it has a lot to do with the intentions we've put out. I don't know if we've talked much about intention here on Relationship Rehab, but here on minglemediatv.com. But Paul and I believe in setting your intentions, declaring what you want out of the universe. And one of our intentions is that by this time next year we'll be gone from Miami. That we are leaving Miami, and we plan on relocating back to Southern California, the homeland, and so we've set up all these intentions for that. And one of the things that we've talked about is that it's kind of sad that we've never gotten to do certain things. And so recently we went on a little trip with our not a little trip, but it was like 8 days of road trip through Florida with our kids, so that we could see things that we hadn't seen before with them. And And one of the things we talked about was driving north, that we had never done that. We had never, I mean, the farthest we had gone was with Jeannie back, I don't know when, like 2000, 2001, we went to North Carolina, which is all well and good, but, you know, we wanted to go all the way up, and now we get to do that, because once we move to California, we're not going to get to do that anymore. We've already driven cross country, we did that. We'll end up doing that the other way.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Which should be, yeah, which should be better. You know, we know to avoid certain states, like the plague, because we hit them the first time around. So we're excited about that. So yes, our intentions are coming to fruition. Now we just need, you know, a buttload of money so we can buy a house over there and.
Yep, working on that one too.
Yeah. So this will be good. This will be good.
So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about what love is. Last week we talked about the myths of love and what love really isn't. So since we don't like to be negative and we don't like to, you know, create a vacuum when we don't need to, let's fill that up and talk about what love is. And we're not just talking about the foofy kind of Harlequin idea of what love is, which is all very abusive and dysfunctional. We're talking about
most of that's going to be in the myth section.
Yeah, we're talking about real love. What real love is, the nitty gritty, you know, which isn't so nitty and or gritty, but we're talking about the real stuff. You know, that's the stuff that when you come into my office and you say, hey, I'm in love, the stuff I'm going to question you on, the stuff I'm going to, you know, I'll ask you a bunch of questions to make sure that it's real love. I mean, I have, in my career, which has spanned 20-something years, I haven't met a lot of people who are really in love. I know a lot of people who are in lust.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are in deep light and care. But love, not so much.
Yeah. Can I do my sciencey part now?
And ladies and gentlemen, the sciencey part. Wait, before we do that, you're watching Lee and Paul from CoupleDumb.com. Relationship Rehab here on MingleMediaTV.com. Hit it.
Yay! Because see, I like to do my sciencey part, because I actually sit there and read like the APA journals and that kind of stuff for fun, because I'm that kind of crazy person. So love actually has been researched. Okay. Now, it hasn't been researched as much as the negative emotions, by the way. Negative emotions, you know, sadness, that kind of stuff, fear. They've researched the poop out of those. Love and like the positive emotions, not so much. But that's just probably you know, the way our
definitional thing.
Yeah, right. It's a definitional thing. The way our society is built. Who knows? Anyhow, there's a few models of love. The one I like the best is a psychological model. Let's see, the guy's name is Robert Sternberg. Is the one who kind of came up with it, and he says that love has three components. It's passion, intimacy, and commitment. We need all three of those to be in love. Passion, everybody seems to have passion down pat. Everybody always knows, you know, oh, I've got the lust part, because that's where lust is. Lust fits in the passion part. It's usually the first emotion that hits is the lust part. That's the part that gets the brain chemistry, you know, sparking real quickly. That's not love, because that's 1/3 of love. That's where I will start with that is my science starting part.
Oh, so he's not going to go on from there.
No, because then we start working into because after that it's intimacy and commitment, which most of our love is in falling more on those.
Right. Right. I mean, you know, where do you leave couples that aren't able to have sex? You know, there are many reasons why that would happen. Whether health reasons or because they're separated, you know, one's in the military or because of work or whatever, you know, you're not able to. Does this mean that the love is gone? You know, that's one of the major myths about relationships and being in love is that if you don't have sex, you're not really in love. You know, sure, it doesn't make it fun, but and just nice. Okay, so one of the things that love is that it's committed. Okay, one of the things that really bothers me, especially all the stuff that's happened in the last 6 months in entertainment and media, is all the infidelity stuff. And yes, as a therapist and somebody who specializes in addictions, I do believe that there's such things as sex addiction. I do believe that most of the men that have been, nailed in the last 6 months have been sex addicts, But it takes a certain amount of lack of commitment to be able to do that. Yeah, sure, you could say they're self-entitled, and you could say that, these guys are really full of themselves, and they've got these yes men and women around them, and they've got all this temptation because all these women want, to have the quick, publicity and fame of being able to bed a celebrity. Which, on a side note, sad, ladies, just so incredibly sad.
Yeah, that's just not...
I mean, come on. I mean...
Gain the self-esteem.
Wow. That's just, yeah, that's really sad. Yeah. I mean, no, that's really sad. Anyway, I mean, maybe because I'm just not wired that way. I don't know. But, anyway, so for them to... But they need to make the final choice. It's not like someone's actually guiding their penis into... the non-wife vagina. We're talking, they've decided that they are going to do this. So that choice shows that they have a lack of commitment. So when they say things like, no, but I really love my wife. Definitional.
Yeah.
It's like it's not committed. You're not committed. So I don't think you're right. I mean, do I encourage women to leave their husbands because they've been unfaithful? No, I don't. This is, if anything, infidelity can be one of those impetuses to strengthen a relationship and to really make it so that, they understand the definition, they understand the boundaries, and that it's very vivid and real to them,
As a matter of fact, if you kind of look at the definition for love, because realize also that definition has an hierarchy. So passion comes first, then intimacy, then commitment. Well, if somebody leaps into breaking the commitment part of it, then what ends up happening is, what Lee is saying is that basically it is an opportunity for the marriage to strengthen the intimacy portion of the, of love. They will assume that the passion is there, but now it's the intimacy. So strengthen
because
the intimacy.
Then what ends up happening is that the partner who is cheated on tends to withhold sex, and it gives the couple an opportunity to increase intimacy because, and as we've said a million gajillion times, intimacy and sex are not the same thing. Intimacy and sex are usually almost an antithesis of each other.
Again, they're not even in the same category.
They're not. They're not in the same category. And then, but we come every time we just, then we were intimate. Oh, really? So you had a really good conversation? It's like, no, we just went. Sorry. But I'm really sleepy. I had to take my sister to the airport today, so I ain't gonna come up with all the good words.
But actually, that's good. She took her sister to the airport because that way she won't call in the middle of the show.
That's true.
Like she does every time.
I'm waiting to the commercial. Okay. So where are we? So
you had just
committed.
at the airport.
I had just said the airport, which wouldn't be the last time.
No.
I'll say it. No. Probably on the show. You know what? Because this isn't safe for kids. If you're watching this with your kids, I'm sorry, but unless I have a kid in my office when I'm working, whatever, I usually drop the words. Even when I'm doing therapy and stuff. I used to work with adolescent girls, and they thought that when we would be in session and stuff, that if they dropped a word there, here and there, that I'd get all shocked and stuff. And being that we worked at a Christian place, some people would. Me, no, not at all. Doesn't really affect me. I enjoy using them. I think that they're appropriate for, especially when we're talking about therapy.
Especially when we're talking about sex.
And talking about sex, yeah. But it's a release. I mean, it's like, what was I reading? I was reading some blogger talking about her love of the word, the F word, and it's like that nothing really, really hits the spot. Like when something goes wrong, just fuck. It's, it is a release. It is a psychological release, much like beating a pillow or, screaming or anything like that. So I use them. So, whatever. No justification, just telling you what it is. Okay, so sex is committed. Love is committed. Whoa. So, when you have commitment, what is you have to piggyback on commitment? Because commitment by itself is, like saying cake, but no frosting. So what's the frosting on that? Responsibility. Once you have that commitment, you are responsible. And responsibility, is about taking charge. It's an action word. It's a verb. I don't care what anybody says. That is a verb word. That is like, it's something that you do. You take responsibility. You act responsibly. And love is a responsible thing. You do things to maintain it because you're responsible for it. It's kind of like, recently, here's a funny story. I'm deathly afraid of rats. And when I say deathly afraid, I have a phobia. A full-on phobia of vermin of any kind. I freeze, I go into shock, my knees go up and around and then I can't even speak, so it comes out like, like that.
If you can't speak, it's very, very, very high.
Yeah, if I can't speak, it's like that, or if I can, it's like,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the bad dream that you can't get out of kind of thing for me. Then all this, it's like my dad has the same phobia. I remember watching my father. Oh yeah, I remember my father shooting like a sewer rat in California when we, growing up there, because he was so afraid of it. He actually shot it with a gun. I mean, with a rifle. So, and I was like, "Yay, Daddy!" Yeah, he could have shot me, but yay, Daddy, you killed the bad rat. But anyway, definitely afraid. So my mom calls me last week and she's like, hey, I was at the pet store getting some stuff with my friend, blah, blah, blah. Long story. All of her stories are really long. And then,
sometimes convoluted.
Oh, yeah, extremely convoluted. So, get to the point, Mom. And after an hour and a half of story, it came down to the pet store guy said that somebody left like a cage with an animal at their doorstep, like it was some sort of little orphan animal.
Right.
Because they were moving or whatever. I don't know. More stories, more stories. And since he couldn't resell it, he wanted to know if she wanted it because, she was so cool. And that was really the main point of her story, is that she was so cool they wanted to give her something. So, so she's like, it's a hamster. Do you want it? And I'm like, okay, well.
Now, our daughter is the animal whisperer.
Yeah,
so
our daughter is going to major in zoology.
Yeah.
She loves her animals. So, she's playing with the dog right now. She's like, do you want the hamster? And I'm like, well, no, but yeah, because, Ginny would love that, and, okay. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead and bring it over. So she brings over this hamster, and she brings it into the house, and I just walk up to it to look at Gina. She's telling me, oh, it's so cute, it stands up, and it begs, and whatever. I walk up to it, and the second I see it, I go, oh, rat, and I walk away, because it was a mouse. It is a mouse.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. And then Paul's like, oh, look at the little hamster. And I'm like, it's not a hamster, that's a mouse.
I was trying, but
yeah, no.
I know that hamsters don't have tails this long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, our daughter comes out and goes,
yeah, that's not a hamster.
That's not a hamster, it's a mouse.
It's a mouse. So, I have no idea why I started this story, but it's a good story.
You're doing responsible.
Okay, so, Paul just looks at me, and I was like, oh, shit, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I go into my little writing corner, and I'm like, okay, curling, but if I am responsible, I take responsibility for my crap, my phobias. They're not my family's phobias, and if I am to be responsible, a responsible parent, I'm not going to pass this along to my child.
That's it, yeah.
And not that my daughter has this phobia, but my sons, who are much younger and tend to be a lot like me,
Mm.
I don't want them to have this either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is kind of crippling in many respects. You know, as soon as you see something small and fuzzy, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and then you kind of like toss them out and then jump and then off to one side. You know, it's bad. It's bad. You know, so I'm not going to have that. So I know I'm not going into a room, but then again, I never really went into a room because it was scary there anyway.
Yeah, there was probably other animals in there that we don't know about.
So that's the responsibility. I mean, being responsible for the love is things like, you know, and this is some of the stuff that I don't really get, you know, like, when people are like, oh, you know, being married or being in love is such hard work. It's really not that hard work. It's just being aware.
Mm-hmm. And see, okay, love is an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with a certain amount of emphasis because we treat it very differently. You know, and I believe that it is, you know, the big emotion. It is the, you know, the granddaddy of all emotions. But still, it's an emotion and it follows the same rules. We're responsible for our emotions. People cannot make us feel anything. We choose to feel it.
Except for rats.
Except for rats, they make her feel scared.
They're going to attack me. Like Willard. Yeah, there's a movie I couldn't watch. Shit, that was like, I mean, just saying the, you know, it's like if I'm listening to an oldie station and I hear Michael Jackson sing, and it's like, oh, freak out.
Yeah.
Then again, you got to be old enough to, you know, have watched movies in the 70s.
Yeah, Michael Jackson makes me freak out. But,
yeah. Shit.
Yeah, I think it's a nose. Well, now the dead nose, whatever. Anyhow.
Hey, Michael. Anyway, any man who could write a song about a rat, not gonna do it. Okay, so where are we? We are at What Can You Do? So I should go ahead and say you're watching Relationship Rehab here with Lee and Paul from CoupleDumb.com, here on MingleMediaTV.com, where we have lots of really cool programming. There's Marla with Life After Kids on Sunday. There's Motivation. If we could just put some stuff. I really need to look this stuff up before I start talking about it because my mind has been, I've got too many things to do. But anyway, we've got lots of things to watch here. And they're doing a contest now, and I don't know if anybody's seen that, but it's Mingle Media and Creative Labs and the workshop people, I'm not sure what they're called, for show ideas. So get a show idea in there and see if you can win a bunch of cool stuff from Creative Labs. But you need to go to MingleMedia.com, MingleMediaTV.com to get the details on that. I came up with an idea for a show.
Oh yeah, we're submitting.
We're going to submit something because you know what? We don't do enough. That's
right.
what we say.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe the other people shouldn't submit anything.
And it doesn't submit anything. No. You lost already.
Yeah.
So, yes, so I got great ideas. My ideas. Great ideas. It's a good idea. So,
Okay.
Anyway, so one big thing that this one's like the big crux of things. Love is trusting.
Yeah.
You know, which kind of precludes any kind of jealousy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, the moment you spark a little bit of jealousy, you're not really in love anymore.
See, the trusting is the bridge between the intimacy and the commitment portion. That's where you kind of move from one to the other.
Right. Because when you talk about trusting, you talk about being vulnerable. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where, you know, it's balls to the wall and you have to be open. You know, it's like if you're in love with someone and you have secrets from that person, you're not really in love with that person.
Right.
If you're in love with someone and have a vault, as you call it, you're not really in love. And it's not a complete love. I could say that, you know, you love them, but it's not a complete love. It's a very immature love. To hide things from your partner is to not trust your partner. Okay, and if you do not trust your partner, then you cannot be committed to your partner.
Right.
If you can't be committed, then you're not responsible for your partner. And you see, it's just like a dominoes, and all of the things that we're going to mention are all like dominoes, and that's how love stacks up. This is why when people who are in love, you know, when it falls apart like this, you know, one thing after another, you know, and this is why you need to go and get some help, because if not, there's no way to reattach this Megillah, because it's a huge thing, you know. It's like, so when we trust people, we open up to them, you know. We establish rapport, and it's like, you know, in the field of psychology, you know, the first thing that you learn when you're doing therapy is how to establish rapport. And some people are good at this, and some people are not. And what we find is that it's easy to establish rapport when you're vulnerable. So if I'm going, you know, it's the funny thing of writing the fine line of being a professional therapist but also being vulnerable, you know. And when I would teach therapy, like to my interns and stuff, it's, you know, it's really letting yourself be real, you know, and feeling the feelings. So, you know, since we worked with kids,
speaking of kids,
he's being vulnerable.
No offense to Paul, but don't most men keep secrets?
Honestly, women keep more secrets than men. Men tend to be more vulnerable than women. When you know, it's like after all the years of working with men, women, you know, kids, best people to work with, men. Easiest people to work with, men. Women play head games and play vulnerability games for a long ass time. You know, you would think that, you know, a woman walking into an office with another woman, with a woman being her therapist, you'd think that you'd walk in and just vomit all your stuff out. God, I wish. It was always just like pulling teeth and game playing and, oh, you're not going to understand kind of crap. Men, you ask a question, you get the answer. There was no hemming or hawing. I mean, I used to work with sex offenders, pedophiles, rapists, things like that. And they were still more open than women who weren't pedophiles and rapists and all that. I'm sorry, Miss. Okay. See, now that's not a secret as much as that's hiding things. You know, he's hiding things from you.
Right, there's a difference.
And you know, this is, I mean, especially with smoking, and I could relate to that. You know, that's an addiction. And he knows you don't like it, so he's going to try to placate you, but he still has an addiction he needs to deal with. You know, that's not a secret. When I'm talking about a secret, I'm talking about, you know, things that you feel, things that you've done, things you feel shame about.
Yeah, there is.
I know, I agree. Right, don't lie about it. But you know what, the smoking, I understood anyway. I get it. Don't lie about it. But you know what it is with men, and that I think that is such a darling thing, is that they don't want to hurt us. And when they're in love and when they love something, they don't want to hurt it. And so they say stupid things and they lie, you know, so that you don't get hurt, thinking that the lie will not hurt you, because the smoking is going to hurt you. Right. So it's really this idea of which one's worse. Can I smoke and lie about it, or you know, is the lying going to hurt her or the smoking going to hurt her? Well, the smoking's going to hurt her, so I'll lie to her.
Now, realize also,
they're not smart.
Within the realm of intimacy here, though, and I don't know whether this is an offense or what, but in a way, you guys haven't made that intimate bridge where you're part of, I don't know how to put it, part of the situation. Right now, he's still hiding the addiction. The smoking, right? He's hiding the smoking because he feels that, you know,
he's shamed about it.
He's shamed about it.
That he can't control it.
And he can't open up on that yet because you guys just aren't there. You know, and I'm not saying that this is a great, huge crisis or anything of that sort, but that might be a direction you want to go, is less of a, you know, shame, a shame thing about Right, and more of a let's open up and,
Right.
you know, we need to be on the same team.
Right. And it is a shame thing, because when we can't control something, that's when we start feeling shame. You know, we're taught that lack of control is a shame thing. That if you can't hold your shit, you should be ashamed of yourself.
And I think
you know?
possibly more even for men than women.
Well, it's both actually. You know, because we know that if a woman can't keep her legs together, there's shame in that. We know that if you can't control your liquor, there's shame in that.
Right. We have our categories that we have specialty in controlling.
When does that change? We've been married for 9.5 years. You know what, honey? Time doesn't change it. You change it.
Right.
You have to create that, like what he said, like that bridge where you sit down, get out of your normal home situation. Very hard to do in your home. For some reason, that's like almost like a cocoon. You know, to talk about shame in your home is kind of tough. So go out, whatever. Go to a park or something where you could release that shame. And you need to tell them, it's like, you know, if you feel ashamed about smoking, stop it. You know, this is, I don't want to enable you. I'm not here to fix you. But we need to be honest about it. You know, if you have an issue, then we need to deal with it. Because when you married him, you took it.
Right.
Lock, stock, and barrel, you know. So the good, the bad, and the stinky, that's what we took.
Yeah, I've explained that I'd rather he tell me than lie about it.
Yeah.
Complete the sentence though. But, because I can sense that there's a but behind there.
Right.
But
stop smoking.
Stop smoking. Right.
Okay, you can't. He's got to do one or the other. So if he's going to be honest with you, you know, you guys have to come up with an agreement. He's not going to be able to quit smoking by himself. You know, he's going to need support with that. But at the same time, you can't shame him for smoking.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that you do it actively. It's just that that's what people do. You know, I mean, I smoke. I'm not going to lie. I do smoke. And I don't smoke in front of my family anymore. You know why? Because the amount of shame and shit that they give me for smoking is just... And the thing is, I will stop when I choose to stop. And, you know, this was something that was, you know, a shame thing. Right now it's like, you know, I don't want to right now. I'm not going to do it right now. Yeah, I curb it to it's only in the evenings and a certain time, but I'm not going to hide it because I'm not going to be ashamed about it. But I don't want to be around my family who's going to give me shit about it. And when I mean my family, I mean like my brother, my sister, my mom.
I still want to get you on the electronic cigarettes again.
Yeah.
I like those. Just because I think that they're cool. It's an electronic cigarette that kind of working for.
It makes it hard on you for him to smoke,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. You know, it's just, you know, personally, it's like I could probably quit smoking if I'm allowed to do it during certain times. You know, the thing is that I think that I would start drinking
if
I stopped smoking. But I don't drink. I mean, I rarely drink. So.
Okay. Important things though. This has nothing to do with the smoking. Okay. This has to do with you actively creating an intimate bond.
Right.
And
especially somebody. You see, this is why there's so much shame in it, because if you've learned how to quit and you've been good about that, you are going to shame the shit out of him because you were able to do it. So then he feels even more shame because he can't do it.
And
so
even that, out twisting it just a little bit for you, because remember, you can't control his emotions, you can't control his behaviors, all that kind of stuff. So he's going to feel shame. So even if you're not shaming him, the fact of your existence.
Right. And I don't mean it like you're neenering him or anything like that. You're breathing.
You stop smoking.
Yeah. Anybody who walks around like, I quit smoking and blah 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 blah. He'll interpret that as shame.
Right.
Because that's what we do. Because that's what we do. You know, that's a human being thing. That's not a man thing. I quit several times. Yeah, talk to me. Ooh. Well, try the electronic cigarettes. If you haven't tried them, they're actually not bad. And there's no nicotine. And
just because I'm a geek, I think that the electronic cigarettes is...
And they're cheaper.
If you can make robot cigarettes, go for it.
Yeah, that seems to work, and, you know, at least you get the fix, and you know, inhaling and
Right.
blowing out and
there's nicotine in them also still.
right, but there's none of that crap.
Right.
None of the other crap.
It doesn't have the carcinogens, but it has the
yeah. Ask them to let you. Well, you can if you want to take a puff or two, and you'll see that you could go as heavy as you want to in terms of like how much nicotine, and then you could like taper off to nothing for him. So you feel, and all he has to do is keep it recharged. So good luck with that. Tell me how it goes. So where are we? So love is trusting. Yeah.
Okay.
And so aside from that whole thing about lying, whatever, no jealousy. Please God, cut it out, people. It's just sad. One of the things we talked about this week is that love is courageous. And, you know, if you have a second, please go to Coupledom and check out our Wednesday post. And it's called Chinese Baby. And Chinese Baby mainly because of a friend of ours who actually became her friend about 11 years ago. And the first thing that we talked about was her wanting a Chinese baby.
She wanted to adopt.
She wanted to adopt a Chinese baby.
She wasn't collecting.
She wanted to adopt a Chinese baby, and she was, you know, was a single woman, and I was like, you know, it's tough being a parent. It's tough being an adopted parent. It's really, really tough to be a single adopted parent. So, you know, are you sure? And we talked, and I just always have loved her point of view of the whole thing, and so.
Is love a feeling or a decision? Okay, on the
both. Honey, yes, it is. You choose to love.
Right. I always have, first thing, I have an issue with the concept that if you have an emotion, then there's no cognition behind it, because that's not necessarily true. They go hand in hand. We are not segregated in our brains like that. Emotions, decisions, all that, they all play in together. So to say, you know, is it a feeling? Yes, it's a feeling.
Okay, how's this?
And it's a feeling you choose to have.
The crap that when people say things like the heart wants what it wants is bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? We tell the heart what to want. We choose what to want. We choose, even in our perception and in our cognition, we choose what to focus on. You know, things can pull our focus, but we can choose whether or not to stay focused on it. You know, it's like, unless you're talking about someone who's autistic, who can't do that because their filters are non-existent and everything is rushing in at the same time. As you know, as a person without autism, you're able to say things like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to the TV and not pay attention to this thing. The same thing that goes with love. If you are out there and there's like two guys, because that's, you know, how I could say it.